Oh, do we want to pick a Ask Your Auntie question?
Yeah, I was trying to pull it up, but I'm pressing too many buttons at once. Hold on. There we go.
Pushing all my buttons, babe. Uh-huh.
You can. Everyone does that shoulder.
Like, come on, Nicole.
You don't want it.
Hi, I'm Tranna Wintour from the podcast Chosen Family. I'm here in Montreal. What's brewing, aunties?
Introducing Auntie Frangelica.
Ask Your Aunties, sad at 42.
And Black is King. So get your cups ready for MinoriTea Report.
Hey, ladies.
Hey, y'all. How's it going?
Doing well.
Hey.
Hi.
And community. You know, we got the fourth member again. We got another guest this week.
Yes.
And she's going to surprise us with her auntie name. We don't know what it is. So what is it going to be?
Okay, so I've decided on Auntie Frangelica. So there's a liquor called Frangelico that I really love, but I'm going to feminize it up.
Love it up.
Okay.
And I'm not a big drinker, but like a little glass of that with some, ice cubes and delicious.
I'm here for it.
She said delicious. My name
delicious. What stand-up was that? Was that the King? No.
I think it was. Yeah, I think it was a Kings of Comedy.
He's like, I ain't gonna call no grown man delicious.
Delicious.
Every time I hear the word delicious, I always think of the Flavor Flav. And that chick from Flavor Flav.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Delicious.
Delicious.
That's too funny. Well, before we really get into it, community, we're on YouTube now. So if you could, subscribe, hit the like button, hit the bell button, all that good stuff. Share with your friends. Share with their friends. Share with their neighbors. They neighbors, they babies, mamas. And help us with the algorithm and all that good stuff. But Tranna, we met her. Dewan and I met her during the LGBT roundtable that there's a couple different queer podcast groups that got together during Pride Month. And like we just had a good vibe with her. We're like, oh, she's asking all these dope ass questions, got us thinking. Like, we gotta have her on. For sure.
Well, I'm so happy because I really felt the connection too, and I'm so happy that round table happened because I don't know, it's just, especially being so isolated, we're not having those moments of meeting new people and new connections. And I just remember at the end of that round table just feeling so good, like having met you all, and so I'm really excited and happy to be reconnected.
We talked about a lot. We got to know each other real well.
Yeah,
sure
we did.
I wasn't there for it, but I do remember seeing like right after like these two going back and forth in the group chat, like, oh, we need to have her on. And I'm sitting here like,
who?
Who is she? Who is she? Who is she? Who is she?
Who's that girl? La, da, da, da. So tell us about so you also have a podcast. So what's the name of your podcast?
It's called Chosen Family. And it's a talk show. Basically, I co-host it with my comedy soulmate, Thomas. And each episode sort of starts off with the two of us in conversation about generally things that are sort of going on in our lives or just issues that we're dealing with. And we always have a main guest who's usually like an artist from background, whether musician, director, writer. So it's really a show about the sort of creative process and the sort of family that you've.
Nice.
That's awesome.
I love the name of that. It's and the fact that you said I was whenever I'm speaking with other friends or, you know, or talking with people, and whenever I'm like sharing coming out stories, like that's the most common thing I hear within the queer community is, you know, your chosen family, the people that you find that, you know, love you like family, like not everyone family actually does in real life. So like the name of the podcast alone just hits so close to home. It's just,
I agree.
Yeah,
good.
for sure.
There's a power in the name for sure.
And like, I mean, you know, I have a good relationship with my biological family. Yeah.
That's good. And then obviously it's kind of choppy right now, but we'll work it
Sorry,
through.
I don't know if it's my end, but it's like freezing.
Yeah, it is a little freezing, but we'll work it through. That's all right.
Okay.
But how long have you done the talk show?
So we do it in seasons, basically. So our first season was 15 episodes, and we did that with an arts organization based here in Montreal. Just expand what we were doing and try to reach, you know, more people. So we pitched our show to CBC, which is basically Canada's public broadcaster. It's like our version of the BBC.
Yeah.
And we got the green light from them. So we did our second season partnering with them, and it was really amazing. And it really allowed us to elevate the show. Like we got to work with an amazing producer named Crystal, who just really helped us take things to the next level, just in terms of like sound design and mixing. And so it is a talk show, but I feel like it's a talk show that kind of tells a story. Like there's definitely a kind of narrative element running through it, this sort of cohesiveness. And we will be back for a third season. So we're starting to work on that. Yeah, I'm really happy, especially because as a comedian, everything's been canceled. So it's nice to know that there's at least this one project that's still happening. So,
yeah.
That is true. Like, thank God I've been able to like keep my day job and things like that, just because it's just like the not knowing, like if I was like a comedian or a musician and things like that, like for my like main job, and just the not knowing would be like fucking A, like I just want to get out there because like that's what you do, like, you know, that's what you get your joy from, that's what like gets you up in the morning. So to be able to do it, especially for what's almost been 5 months since a lot of the world is just kind of shut down. Woo! Kudos to you to hang in there.
Yeah, it's been tough. Like I really miss it, you know, like I feel like I never thought that I'd ever get to do it, because I think that like ever since I was a kid, I've always had this like performer creative energy within me, but I never knew how to channel it. I was interested in music and acting, and I never really thought about stand-up comedy, and I just never had the confidence or, you know, the sort of vision to make any of that happen. So for me, like in the last 7 years that I've been performing, like I can at least say like I never took any of it for granted, because every time I got to be on stage felt like this like miraculous dream come true. So at least I never took it for granted. Like I always was like, this is amazing, I can't believe I get to do this. But I miss it so much. Like I just miss that connection with the audience. And like I'm, you know, an introvert by nature, I'm like a bit of a lone wolf, but like that connection, that energy that you get from people is just like the most amazing thing, and I really miss it.
Have you been able to do Zoom versions of it at all?
Yeah, but it's not the same.
Not the same, yeah.
It's not like, it's not as bad as I thought it would be. Like I find there's been a handful of them that I've done that there was still a feeling of connection, but it's definitely not the same thing.
Yeah.
It's definitely not the same thing.
It's tough. You don't really get to feel the energy from like, it's just not the same when you're like in a room with people and you can feel it versus like, you can see people's reactions, but you can't really like, I don't know.
It's like, and it's the same reason that I never became a YouTuber. Like, it's not the same thing. Like, you know, sitting in your apartment alone in front of a computer screen like to me, like it's just so hard to do that. Like it just feels so unnatural.
I just felt red. I was like,
no, I'm not.
I was like, Biz, where you at? I need to can't be alone.
I don't mean like that, Drew. I just mean that like I can't do it, you know, like, and that's why it's just because I think sometimes people assume that it's the same thing, you know, that like
for sure.
if you can perform on stage, then you can do that, and vice versa. That if you're, you know, making videos, that you can get up on a stage, but it's not. Those are two very different things.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Being good at one of them does not mean that you're going to be good or even excited or inspired by the other, you know. So.
That part.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
And I just feel like, you know, for people who like are making videos, like obviously you have to love it. There's so much time and work and effort that goes into it. So if my heart's not in it,
not
like,
for me.
I can't fake that, you know.
It's not for me. I say on the podcast all the time. These two aunties over here, they when they be driving the wheel, the bus, they got the axles, they got the gas. they be handling it all because I'm kind of the same way. Like
she's on air talent.
It's right. Okay. Look. Let me put that in the resume. I should been updated now. So that's going to go up on there next. Special skills.
Right.
I show up.
Right. I throw hands. Don't try.
Okay,
try Jesus. Don't try me. Because I throw hands.
What would you say? I mean, obviously having a comedic background that's, you know, informs a lot of like your perception of entertainment and, you know, the voice that you want to have in terms of leveraging your platform. How do you feel like having a platform of being on a podcast has, you know, either been influenced by your comedic background and or has influenced it?
That's a really great question. I mean, for me, like, I think that everything that I do, so like, I also do music and podcast and comedy. And for me, it just like, fundamentally, it always comes back to that idea of connection. You know, like, that's what I want. Like, that's the foundation of everything that I do creatively. It's really about wanting to feel like something is being shared and that it's not just a monologue, you know, because I think that so many performers, especially comedy, like male comedians in particular, it's an ego trip for them. It's like, it's basically like a kind of masturbation. Like they are up there on stage and
right.
it is just for them. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And like, there are people that get on board and they enjoy what they're watching, but I can tell that like, there's no real regard for the audience that just sort of happens to be there. It's such a self-involved endeavor. And that really doesn't speak to me. You know, like for me, I really see every kind of performance as a conversation. It has to go both ways. Like I get up and I give everything, but I'm also hoping that the audience is going to give me everything too, so that there's really, that we're in it together and that we're each bringing something to the table and it's equal. It's not like I'm superior because I'm on stage. It's like, you know, the collective thing that we're creating together in the moment.
I see it. I see why you two were talking in the group chat. Like I felt like I was watching someone in the pageant contestant answer the question in the final three. It was so poised and elegant, and I was just like, I want more. Like,
I know.
Yes. Like I felt
Tranna's the real. She's like the real deal. Yes.
Absolutely.
Oh God, you guys.
I felt that.
So like when you're performing, is it coming from a place of like power and confidence, or is it coming from a place of vulnerability? Because I know I've had friends that you know that teeter on one or the other when they're on stage. It's like, oh, I'm bearing my soul because I'm pouring it into my craft, or you know, I'm like, this is what I do, and I got to bring you along the journey.
Right. For me, it's really both energies. I think at the beginning, it was really just this sort of confidence, and I needed to reach a point in my life where I found that confidence. Like it actually really astounds me when I see, especially in comedy, people who are so, it's not even self-deprecating anymore. They're like really hard on themselves and like mean to themselves. And there is a total lack of confidence. It's all insecurity. And I'm always amazed that anyone can get up on stage when they don't have a kind of confidence or self-love. Like I would never have been able to do it. had I not found my confidence. And I think that a lot of my confidence and what really changed everything for me and allowed me to finally tap into that creativity and performer animal that's always lived in me was like really coming to an understanding of myself as a trans person. Like that had to happen first before I could take, you know, that leap. And so I think that when I first started, it was really coming from this place of like empowerment. Like I would get up on that stage and I'd be like, I fucking own this stage. I would get up in these like dive bar comedy, like these dive comedy bars, and there'd be like 10 people in the audience, but like I'd be wearing like a sequin dress. Like I would just I would just treat every moment like it was like this spectacle. And like, I didn't really give a shit like who was doing what on that stage. Like my 5 minutes were my 5 minutes, and I would always treat that 5 minutes as like my show. Which is like, I guess like sort of not egotistical, but I just felt like I was so focused on really doing my own thing and making it what I wanted it and needed it to be.
And you wanted to be the best. Like, like, you're not going to get up there and half-ass it. If you're going to do the shit,
no,
do the shit.
Exactly. But that's been me like my whole life, like this perfectionism, and like sometimes to a fault, you know, sometimes to the point where like I don't really like to do things that take me out of my comfort zone or things that I feel like I'm not amazing at. And sometimes that blocks you from opportunities. And the times where I've really just told myself to shut up and just go for it, even if I'm not comfortable, even if I don't feel like I'm good at what's being asked of me, it's always been like a really eye-opening experience. And then you actually find out that no, you're actually better at it than you thought you were. And the only way that you're going to get good at it is to keep doing it. But I have this like idea sometimes that's like, I don't know, again, it's sort of a limiting idea that like you sort of have to be born with whatever talent you want to do. And to some extent, I do think that's true, but you're only going to get even better if you just keep doing it. This is just a long way of saying that like, for me, it's equal parts vulnerability and equal parts empowerment. And I think the vulnerability part is just that, you know, I think that I still really carry with me that kid inside me, that eternal child within me that just felt so like, so scared and so outcasted. But I knew even then that like, I know I have something to give. And like, I know that I'm fabulous, even though no one is seeing it right now. Like, I just know it, like within me, somehow I just knew it. And even though those experiences in childhood were very challenging, like they never, luckily, never fully broke me, you know? So I
come
always
through, Caterpillar.
And I think that like my, you know, my sort of survival mode was just to always be the wallflower, was just to always be invisible. But that really went against my nature as a performer. So I think that like when I finally reached this moment in my life where I really understood who I am and I gained that confidence within that moment, it was like there was nothing more holding me back from doing it. But I still carry that child on
that fire. Is that like,
exactly.
You still want to kind of prove like, no, I got this shit. You know what?
And I think that I've learned to become like more vulnerable on stage, especially I think like when I do music, because I have always loved singing, but I don't play any instruments, and I've never, you know, taken any sort of classes. But then 2 years ago, I met this amazing musician and producer who really helped me find my voice. And so like, I think that's where especially the vulnerability comes through. Like when I'm singing makes me feel like so exposed, like way more than comedy.
I believe that. I believe it. Like, so with the comedy, so you're in Montreal. How is the comedy scene there? Like, is the community, are they like supportive? Is it like dog eat dog? Like, are they?
Well, it is supportive. So in Montreal particularly, it's sort of divided into two worlds because Montreal is a bilingual city.
Right.
In the province of Quebec, and the province of Quebec is basically all French. But Montreal is like this little pocket that is bilingual. And Quebec has its own sort of Hollywood, like it's its own sort of entertainment industry, because it's French. They need to create content that's not being created for them by the rest of Canada.
Right.
So it's really divided. There's the French comedy world, there's the English comedy world, and the English comedy world in Montreal is very small. So it tends to actually be more supportive, but fundamentally, you know, it's still entertainment, it's still comedy, so it's still very much like every person for themselves.
Yeah. And then what about like the queer aspect of it? So are there very many queer folks who are also in comedy as well?
Well, before like quarantine started, you know, I would say that especially in the last 3 years, like not just in Montreal, but I think across Canada and even with the US, like comedians that I know in the States, like we've all witnessed this sort of birth of like what is sort of called queer comedy. I think a lot of people that are queer don't really like that distinction being made because it's just sort of, you know, we're just doing comedy.
Limiting,
yeah. But like there has
it's like being
been,
yeah,
but like there's definitely been like there's been a shift, you know, like there's been a shift within the comedy world that is a long time coming and that I think is really undeniable. And you know, straight male comedians always come back with this idea that like women, and we know that in turn they also mean queer people, are not funny. And I've never found that to be the case in my life.
We are the funniest. Like, come on now.
But I think it's like objectively that we are the funniest. Like it's not really like up for debate. And I feel like funny straight men are more rare and are much more the exception than like funny women and funny queer people.
Yes, I agree.
I hear you on
Look,
that.
there's a lot of straight men
There's
that can
just
be
more of
misogynistic.
them.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right.
There's just more of them.
And they're lazy. Like the jokes that
like
they
Will
try
Ferrell?
to do.
I'm sorry.
Like
names.
They're not creative at all. Like they don't push it.
But
they don't push
what I
the
feel,
envelope. They don't push the ball to create something even bigger and funnier.
Exactly.
And things like
but
that.
It's because they've never had to.
That
you know what I mean?
Well,
like they're the status quo. Like comedy was built. This comedy world was built for them.
Yeah.
You know. And so it's, you know, it's not easy to navigate. The entertainment industry in general is a shit industry. I mean, like, look at Me Too, look at everything that we're talking about. Like, this is also an industry that is entirely based on nepotism and who you know. It's not about who is actually great or who actually has an imagination, who's pushing things further. You know, sometimes there's this illusion, and I'm sure you guys can relate to some extent, that like we're all sort of taught that like if you work hard enough and you persevere that it's gonna happen. And you know, when you think about all the systems of oppression that are in place, it's hard to really believe that, you know. And there's a part of that idea that even though there is no other option, like we do just have to keep going. It's sort of a bit of a fantasy, I think, sometimes to think that hard work automatically means
Fantasy,
a payoff.
That's true. So who are you inspired by? Like either musically, comedically, life?
Life. Well, like one of my like biggest inspirations. So like, again, when I was growing up, like stand-up comedy was just not on my radar as a kid. You know, like I was really obsessed with like movies and music and pop stars. But then I think like, I guess in my like early 20s, I discovered the work of Sandra Bernhard, who's a comedian, an actress, and singer, like who I just fucking love. And when I discovered her work and the way that she combines like music and performance art within comedy and like does something that is so unconventional, it was really this like light bulb moment for me where it's like, oh my God, like this is what I've been looking for my whole life.
Yeah, her show on Radio Andy is hilarious.
Yeah, she's amazing.
Like my husband, we die at her. She's so kooky, but she's 1000% herself.
Yes. And she's just like, she really truly is the real deal. And like, what was crazy is that like, so I had this moment of discovering her work, fell in love with it, and was like, this is what I need to do with my life. And then I went to see her in New York City perform when I had already internally sort of made up my mind that like, this is what I was gonna do. But then seeing her live really, you know, cemented that decision for me. And before going to the show, we had sort of like developed a little rapport on Twitter. And I didn't know if I was going to get to meet her or not, like when I went down to New York, but we did meet and we just had this like instant connection and like just became friends. And it's just this like relationship that has like deepened over the years. And she eventually had me on her Radio Andy show because I did a solo show in New York City a few years ago, and she came to the show the next night, and it was just this like surreal, like unbelievable moment. And she came backstage after, and she just like held me, and she was like, "You got it, like you have it." And it's just this moment that I always go back to when I'm in my like moments of doubt, like especially over the last few months of just being so unsure about everything. And I don't know, it's a rare thing when you're like supported by your hero, and it's like this like pinch me thing. And it just sometimes in the moments where it's really hard to believe or to really keep pushing forward, it's like just knowing that I have people like that behind me just gives me that like extra boost.
That makes me want to look into her more.
Awesome.
It's too bad that like
I don't know much about her.
She's amazing.
What's her name again?
Sandra Bernhard.
You know her from Pose. She's in Pose. She's the nurse in Pose.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Okay. Yes.
And like formerly on Roseanne, and like is just, and what's so inspiring to me is just someone that's been able to do so many things, like you know, comedy, acting, music, all of it. You know, it's like, why limit yourself to just one form of expression?
And she's always been like the real deal. Like she personifies New York like nobody's business. She's been unapologetic about her views, her sexuality. She's just been herself, and you just can't help but just, you know, admire somebody that lives so much in their own truth. You can't deny it.
And I think that this is an industry that is so consumed by like blind ambition, you know, like ruthless ambition, like to the point where people will do anything to get ahead, and they will throw other people under the bus. They will do like whatever it takes just in the name of their own success. And I've witnessed this just with comedians that I've gotten to know. I've seen comedians that have achieved like unbelievable, amazing things, and they're never satisfied because they're always looking at someone else who they think has more. And I'm looking at them being like, what? Like, you have it made. Like, this doesn't make sense. But I think, like, Sandra's been really reassuring in that sense that, like, that's never been her approach. You know, like, her approach is so much just about doing the work and, like, being invested in the work. And, like, you know, the rest will sort of happen as it will. But make the process as enjoyable and fulfilling as you can.
Yeah, it's hard for a lot of people to enjoy the journey. Especially if you're like working hard, sometimes you're just like, oh, I'm working hard and I'm not getting the fruits of my labor, or at least whatever that perception of the fruits of your labor is. But then one day it'll just hit, you know? And you're just like, oh,
and even if it doesn't, like, even if it doesn't,
yeah.
You know, like, I feel that way with podcasting too. I'm sure you guys too. Like, you guys are doing such an amazing job, like, in terms of the way you're getting your podcast out there, like, your Instagram account, like everything, you know, and like you're building it and you're making it happen, and hopefully you're fine. I know we all have those moments of like, you then look at someone else's you know, account, and they're like, what, 20,000 followers, and like, doubt yourself, or you just start comparing yourself. But like, it's like, you have to trust that what you're doing is happening in the moment that it's meant to be happening, and that, you know, you're doing it the right way.
Absolutely. Well, you know, we're gonna have you for the whole episode. We're gonna have you for like Ask Your Aunties and everything like that. And actually, maybe we hop into Ask Your Aunties right now. Actually, so
awesome.
What time is it? Ask your auntie.
I just felt like a Muppet right now. I felt like Kermit.
Oh man. Okay, let's see here. I think I still have it up. Come on, computer. Just froze on me a little bit here. All right, let's see here. And this one is from Anonymous. If I could get
Hey, Anonymous.
Hey, Anonymous. Why you gotta be anonymous? Everything. You'll find everything literally resorts to a song with me.
Absolutely. I love that.
This one says, I feel like a failure. I don't have a boyfriend. I keep getting stories on my Facebook feed of people marrying others or in relationships. You are meant to be happy with life. I feel like I've missed out somehow. Soon I will be 42 and feel I'm too old for kids. I've been hurt too many times, not sure what to do anymore.
That's a lot. There's a lot.
That's a heavy one.
There's a lot to unpack in that.
I mean, right off the bat, to Anonymous, I just want to say, like, not being partnered is not a failure in any way. Because when it comes to, like, real, authentic love and connection, like, that is something that is beyond anyone's control. Like, you can't approach finding love the way that you approach finding a job or building a career, even though I know a lot of people do.
You better let her know. You know.
You gotta measure up.
But it doesn't work that way, you know? And I think that some people find it and some people don't. And I think what's unfortunate is that our whole culture has built us up to believe that the only kind of love that is valid, or the only kind of love that really matters, is romantic love. And I just don't believe in that at all. I think love is a need. There's no getting around that. But self-love and the love of your friends and family, like, also no one's guaranteed great friends or great family either, you know? So to me, like, fundamentally, like, the only truly sustainable love, or the only love that you're actually guaranteed, is your self-love. So put the focus on that, you know, really.
I agree.
Yeah.
I also feel like, let's talk just straight up facts, right? More than 50% of marriages end in divorce.
You're right on that.
So you may be seeing a whole bunch of people getting married, but check in about 1 month later, 6 months later, a year later. You know, the reality of it is that, you know, I think a lot of us fall into this comparative, you know, internal analysis, right? There's a lot of big words, but like comparing yourself to other people through the lens of social media. And that is never a good idea, because you don't get to see the day to day. You don't get to see that, you know, these people that are so much in love live like in pigsties, or, you know, have such bad credit that, you know, they're on the brink of getting evicted every 2 weeks, but they in love with each other. You know, like, you don't get to see all of that stuff. And quite frankly, a lot of the stuff that you do see about these folks that are in relationships are just for social media. It's not like real life really is, you know. And I don't want to dismiss the fact that, I guess I'm not projecting, but I'm reading into what this person is writing, that they are yearning for a meaningful relationship. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's okay to have that be an aspiration for yourself, you know. But the other thing to try to remember is that don't allow your yearning for something meaningful to turn into a desire to settle for anything just to have the title. Because then the purpose of being in a meaningful relationship is so that you're happy. And just like Tranna was saying, you can be happy by yourself, but if you're going to pursue a relationship, don't pursue a relationship because everybody else has one. Pursue a relationship because you have a meaningful connection with a person. You feel that there's an element of compatibility that you really want to explore, and then let nature take its course.
Exactly. And I think that, like, I agree 100%. Like, there's absolutely nothing wrong with wanting a relationship and putting yourself out there and doing the work on yourself that you need to do to sort of like take down your self-protective walls and like really put yourself out there. But don't make that like the measurement of your success. Like, don't make, you know, the finding of that person this like defining thing, you know. Like, I remember years ago having a conversation with a friend, and we were like in our early 20s, and this friend was like, if I reach the end of my days and like I don't have a husband or a family, she's like, I will die miserable. And I'm like, why are you deciding that now?
Right?
Like, there's going to be a million things that you experience in life and a million things that you don't. Like, why are you already deciding right now that if you don't get X, Y, Z, that means you've failed.
Like that's the
But
only.
I think it's because of
why?
social media though too. Like we're so conditioned to want those things out of life. Like I remember at the age of 18 making one of those kind of pacts with my straight girlfriend. Like by the age of 30, we both single and
We're
you
gonna
know,
get
we ain't got
married.
no kids, you know, we're gonna have a kid together, you know, et cetera, like that, because, you know, like especially for our generation, that's what we were conditioned to. Like by the age of 27, you know, you need to graduate college, be married, and like start having your first kid. And if you're not doing that by 30, then you are behind.
Yeah.
And
Or something's wrong with you.
right, or something's wrong with you, you know. And to kind of go with what you were saying too, Dewan, like regarding, you know, not getting caught up in those things. Like it's hard when the only things you see is, well, not the only thing, but majority of the time you see when you're looking into someone else's life is what they want you to see, which is only the good things, you know? So when it comes to trying to have a relationship, a lot of people don't understand relationships are fucking work. They are work. You know, you may see me post you know, like if I'm posting an appreciation post about my fiance, like I'm appreciative because we done been through some things, and there are some days where I want to post the exact opposite, but like someone come get your friend, get your cousin, get your brother, get your son, because he got to get the hell up out of here.
If
you
you
know,
was
like,
in this house last night, y'all would have seen
exactly. I would have been like, oh, really? I don't know if I want that after all.
Right?
You know, like, but it wasn't until like getting in a relationship that truly challenged me and that I actually wanted to have, that I started being like, okay, maybe it is me. Maybe there's some things that I have to work out. And then luckily, you know, I have these two lovely ladies here, you know, as my co-hosts on the podcast, that like I've messaged them and got to talk to them and I'm like, oh wait, so what we're going through is normal? This is
Right.
like what? You know? So like I would just say to the person, like, don't get too caught up in not having, because like they say, more money, more problems. Having another person to care about is more problems too. Because you just you don't have to care about yourself. You got to be thoughtful about somebody else too.
And it's going to force you to
Exactly.
grow. Like it's going to
Exactly.
force you to realize I might not be that badass that I thought I was. You know, there's some blind spots on myself that I need to fix. And that's what, like you said, people don't show. And that's things that people, even before social media, didn't teach or show, you know?
Yeah.
And so it's just like, even now, like, I'll talk to like my mom or dad and be like, oh yeah, there was days we went to bed angry, you know? But they never told you that growing up. But partly so because they didn't want to put their stuff on you, and rightfully so on that. But it's just like, the tone almost of this message is just like, I feel like until this person truly looks within and finds some happiness, you're not going to get the stuff that you so-called desire. Because it's just like the tone of it almost sounds like Debbie Downer of yourself, and that you're not even happy with yourself, honestly. And maybe that's being too frank, but
well,
it's just like, you gotta find that happiness and that joy. And if you can't do that, you're not going to bring it to anyone else either. They're going to look at you and be like, I don't want to be around you.
And no one can no one can bring that to you, you know, fundamentally. And I know it's a cliche, but like it's true. And I really relate to that person because like I was in that way of thinking too, like years ago, like just, I really thought that like having a partner would be the answer. Like I would find that validation, I would find that confidence, I would find that fulfillment. And I realize now that it always eluded me because people can sense that need, and it's not appealing, you know, like it's not.
And let's be honest, and sometimes like even when you're in the relationship, sometimes you just look at that door and be like, what if?
What if?
What if I just stepped my black ass through that door? And I experienced all that shit that's over there, you know.
Yeah.
But then you think about it, you be like, oh shit, I gotta start working out again. I gotta get up and shave.
On that.
No, that's a wrap. You staying, I'm staying.
Right, exactly. It's like I'll see you in bed. I'll see you in the morning. Then.
Right. Okay, you know.
I'm mad at you right now, but I'll see your ass in the morning.
That's one of the reasons why, like, I think it's so important that we have this platform, Ask Your Aunties, because I think you get to hear these kinds of questions. Like, at least our listeners get to hear that other people are feeling a lot of the things that they're feeling, and whether it's anonymous or not, you know, it's so validating to know that other people are struggling with a lot of the thoughts and the feelings that you're struggling with too. So, you know, I commend, you know, people for, you know, stepping in and stepping up and sharing like their vulnerabilities and their questions. You know, it helps other people to know that they struggle too. It's not everything is roses and cupcakes over here in couple land.
I will say, oh, go ahead, love. Go ahead.
I was just going to say that I think also like fundamentally, like we're also all like wired differently, you know, like now in my life, it's something that I wrestle with. I'm like, do I even want a relationship? Like, I feel like when I hear people like Whoopi Goldberg say like, I don't want anyone in my apartment, like I relate to that. Like that resonates for me so deeply. And I just think that like, you know, I've been single for basically my whole adult life. And I'm like, I'm still trying to figure out, is that because I'm too self-protective and like, I don't want to let anyone in? Or do I also am I just not wired for this? Like, is this just not something that I actually want? You know?
Or maybe it's just about just changing the standard. Like that, you know, throwing the standard out the window and saying there is no standard. It could be this and it can be that. It could be whatever it is that means to you. Because what I may want and may need out of life and my purpose may not be the same as yours. Your expectations, your desires, your needs are going to be completely different. And it should be fine. It shouldn't be like, well, if you don't feel how I feel, if you don't want what I want, then you are different than me. You know, then there's something wrong with you. And it shouldn't be like that. And you know, like I just encourage people who feel like there's something wrong with them, you know, just focus on finding your joy first. Because as long as you have your joy, that means no one can take it because it's yours and yours alone.
Exactly.
Exactly. And then everything else is just a positive.
Exactly. Because we've all seen what it looks like when someone derives their entire happiness and sense of self from their partner, and that relationship ends, and it is not.
They don't know what to do with
it.
themselves.
Pretty.
And then I also want to say, like, 42 is not too old to have a kid. Like, I want to throw that out there. Don't feel, quote unquote, that
Halle Berry is how old? Janet Jackson is how old?
Right.
Like, you know what I mean? Like,
you know, but it's just like there's
different tax bracket, of course, but
absolutely. That's a very true statement. But it's just like it's never too late. If it's in your destiny, it's going to happen. Like, enjoy the ride, enjoy the journey, and make it happen. Don't sit there and be like, "Woe is me, that shit ain't happening."
Hey, that's your Jackie Robinson year. Like, bitch, enjoy it. 42. Like, damn.
I'm feeling 42. Ooh, that was a Taylor moment. That was weird.
Also, like, yes, I think like,
I didn't know that one.
Like, I feel like what you're all getting at is just like, there is no should, you know, like we've all been served this template, you know, that we think we all have to fit in, and these benchmarks. And Jarrell, like you were saying, even just in terms of like finishing school, and like there's this timeline, this idea of like all these things we're supposed to do, but it's all fucking bullshit. And it's like, it's all just in the name of this like capitalist structure that's crumbling anyway. So why bother now?
That's the truth.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I do feel like I do feel like as humans, we are born to emulate, and it's a way for us to learn, and it's a way for us to know that we're doing the right thing. And so when we, you know, you think about people who see positive images, you know, whether it's in their household or outside of their household about relationships, you know, they have models that they can follow. But then when you only see a certain archetype, you know, where, people get together, they couple up, they get married, they have kids, or they buy a house, they do things in this order. And that gets ingrained in people's head. Like, that's the way that it has to be. And I just love that we're in a time right now where a lot of people are just breaking the mold and saying, you know what, individual happiness comes first. That's it. And then whatever else around that occurs, it only adds to your own personal happiness. Exactly. And it doesn't have to look the same way for each person.
And it's funny you say that too, because like it hit me like a year ago, maybe sometime this year, where like I was thinking about my relationship and what I want out of my relationship, etc. And the only like real true successful relationship that I know, a marriage in my family that I know of, is my grandparents on my dad's side, you know, and a handful of aunts. Other than that, everyone has been divorced. My parents have been remarried and divorced twice. You know, like people got baby mamas and baby daddies left and right. And I was just upset that I was like, how am I chasing something that I really don't know shit about?
Right.
Mhm.
Yeah,
That's real tea.
Reclaiming my time. Reclaiming my time.
Come on, Auntie. It's just, like, and I was gonna say even before that, like, I really like. There's just certain things as I get older that I just truly appreciate my parents even more than I ever did, because one thing they were very consistent about was like whenever someone would come to me like, oh, shouldn't Carell do XYZ or shouldn't they? They'd be like, no, he shouldn't do anything. Like, you know, they were very adamant of we shouldn't have to do anything, you know, kind of thing.
Except
that was
except
like
not get your ear pierced.
Exactly.
Right. So
But even then, he was like, if you want to do it,
Right.
come your ass home and we'll do it then. You know, kind of thing. So they've been very good. The only thing they were, I guess, that we should do is show our butt in the church every week. And not even every week, it was like 3-4 times a week. But outside of that, like, I remember them, like, people would come up to me like, oh, Carell's tall or Carell's talented in this. Shouldn't he be doing this? But like, he has not voiced that to me. Like, especially my dad. My dad don't care. Like, he'd be like, I'll tell you to your face. He ain't voiced that to me. So if he didn't want to do it, he's not going to do it. He shouldn't have to do it because now you're projecting onto him is what, like, as I got older, they're putting their expectations or their stereotypes on us, especially growing up in the predominantly white area. So I think that was their way of protecting us, saying, no, you might have some viewpoint of what a black person should be, but if he's not wanting to play basketball, he's not going to play basketball. If he's not going to do this, he's not, you know? So a lot of times we put these shoulds on our lives instead of looking inside and saying, what do I think I should do that I want to do? Instead of what this projection is out there, you know? And once you kind of get to that point, that's when happiness comes.
Yes.
That's when you might find someone that, you know, wants to be in a relationship with you. That's when you might have kids. That's what, you know, let all that go and see what happens after you kind of.
And that's also what people are attracted to, you know, like,
absolutely.
I mean, like, if you think about it, their energy, like when you're putting out good vibes and people can sense that and they can feel that, that's going to bring, going to bring people to you that you could never get when you are, you know, going through your struggles, because everyone is going through their struggles. And so the last thing they want to do is, you know, surround or invest in someone else who's already struggling as is, because it's like, I'm just trying not to drown. So I can't really help you. But if you on a lifeboat over there, you know, like, I'm gonna swim my ass over there. I'm sorry, but I have to, you know. So
those human instincts is like a real thing. Like, people can smell that, like, smell it. You know what I mean? Like, if you're ever out, like back in the days when we could go out to bars and, you know, like all that kind of stuff. Like, if you're in a social scene and you're like, you know, scoping the scene out, there are people that you are naturally attracted to or interested in, and people that you're like, for some reason, not really feeling it.
Not feeling it.
And that's instinct coming through.
Yeah.
It's very true. So
that's a good question.
It was a good question. Continue to send your Ask Your Aunties, AYA@minoriTeareport.com, or DM us, text us, flag us down at the grocery store, whatever you need to do.
Don't flag me down,
Don't
girl.
flag you down.
Look, I'm trying to get in and out, okay?
You're right on that. You're right on that. But continue to send your Ask Your Aunties questions. Obviously, we do it every episode, so we continue to enjoy this segment. So
yes.
But you see the Emmy nominations are out now.
Yes. Okay, first of all, I gotta say this. Watchmen.
Woo!
26 nominations.
Woo,
26 nominations.
Yep.
It was so good. I'm actually low-key mad that I waited to get into it, because I didn't watch it while it was happening while it was live, or at least it was coming on every Sunday or whatever day it was. So I waited until the whole thing was out to then watch it. Bitch, it's so good.
Do you guys get Watchmen in
It has to be
Montreal?
renewed again.
Well, we do through, like, we have this, like, Canadian sort of, we have Netflix, obviously, but we have, like, this other streaming service called Crave that gets, like, the HBO stuff.
Okay.
But I didn't watch Watchmen yet, but Jarrell, like, you really have me sold now.
You are missing
Let me
out.
say, I forget
It gives
what's
you
his name.
everything.
No,
Everything.
but what's,
It gives you
what's her,
everything.
what's
Like,
her
really
husband's
good.
name? What's her husband's name? I keep
Fine,
forgetting it.
fine, motherfucker.
Fine, motherfucker. Fine. Girl, we fine. Bitch.
Oh my goodness.
Bitch. Punch my hole, bitch. Just do it all, girl.
I don't know.
Okay.
7 foot full of muscle.
What's it? Yaya, I think. Yeah, or
Yeah,
I think
Yaya.
But he is one handsome human being.
Bitch,
His
he's
body
so
is
fine.
insanity. His
And you get to see all of it.
bits and bobs.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, them
I'm
booty
In his
cheeks.
natural color and some other colors.
But I heard that it's like confusing, like hard to follow.
Like the way they wrap that they wrap that shit up the best out of any
Yeah.
show I've seen
I
probably
agree.
ever.
Mhm.
It is confusing when you're watching it, but then at the end you're like, they done wrap this shit
Yeah.
all the way up.
Yeah.
What I would
like,
say,
yeah, like
what I would
halfway
say-
through something happens and you're like, okay, that makes sense.
Okay.
And then the other
Uh-huh.
hand, it's a full
Oh, okay.
everything.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's written in 2 parts. One, there is a component of suspended belief. So it doesn't happen in our version of what reality looks
Okay.
like.
Right.
Okay. So when you take that out, then there are these other things that happen, that are very comic book inspired.
Right.
Because it is a
But
comic
also-
book show. Yeah.
But it's also rooted in racial tension. So
Okay.
there's like, the storyline on the surface, but then there are all these other undertones,
Mm.
of patriarchy, racism, feminism, sexuality, nudity, personal acceptance, like all of these things get
Okay.
explored. It is phenomenal.
It might be one
Absolutely.
of the top
Wow.
5
Okay. My
shows
God.
ever
Like
for
I've
me.
really been missing out.
I agree.
It's really good.
It's
Okay.
really
Yeah.
good. I hope
I'm-
it gets renewed. Like after this point, they need to do something about it
The
because
writer, he
you
said he
just
doesn't want to. He said
just-
he feels like he ended it the way he wanted to.
I agree with that because I
I'm
feel
torn.
like number one, those actors have gone on, especially Regina, like they've
Yeah.
gone on to do so many other things that being able to
Mhm.
pull that back, we wouldn't be able to see this for another 2 to 3 years. So let's start
Especially
with that.
COVID.
Right.
Yeah.
But then number two, if they were to bring something like this back, they would have to do it kind of like in the same world, but not the same
Characters.
continuation of the same
Mhm.
story.
Right.
It would be
Yes.
like
Yep.
a American Horror Story. It's in the same world, but not the same people, the same
Right.
characters, the same storyline. It's just it's a whole different kind of town, a
Well, that
whole
would be
different kind
kinda
of
hard
story.
because Watchmen is based off of those characters,
Mhm.
No, actually, it's not.
It's-
at
it's
least not
loosely-
Mr.
Dr.
Manhattan.
Manhattan.
Mr. Manhattan is the one that ties
one-
it into
right, that
Watchmen.
ties it
Is the
together.
one, but Watchmen is a group of 8 different superheroes,
Right,
so
right,
it is
right.
definitely doable
Right.
to do another story.
But like
in the
half
same
of the superheroes
universe.
were in this first season.
Mhm. But you don't have to do.
Not
You don't have to.
of actual Watchmen. They're actually
You-
older. But yeah,
and
sorry,
you
go
don't have to use. You can use Watchmen as the setting,
Right,
but
right,
not
right.
necessarily the characters as
Right.
the plot. So they've created a world that everybody understands what's going on in this world, which means
Mhm.
that if you go to another neighborhood, another town where they have some other shit going on,
Right.
in your brain from a plot continuity perspective, you already know this is something different. So now I can expect you're going to explore some different undertones. I can't wait to see what that's going to look like.
He's had all of COVID to write and think of some stuff, so I hope he said,
Right.
well, you know
He
what?
might
I
come
got
out
a story.
inspired.
Maybe
Might
he was
come out on the other
bored.
end.
Yeah.
And then
But
who else
it's-
got nominated? Like Octavia
Insecure.
Spencer,
Insecure get
yes.
8 nominations.
Yes.
Yes.
Well, there was an article that I read that like I think 13 like out LGBTQ people have been nominated across
Yes.
all the acting categories. Like that's phenomenal.
Just
With the
I
exception of
still think it's
Pose
really
getting
I know that's what I was just about to say.
Mhm.
Like it's so outrageous, that was so ignored. But at the
Yeah.
same time, like especially if you compare to last year's nominations, like this is a major step
major leap
forward,
forward, yeah.
especially when you compare it to the Oscars and like how slow their progress is.
Mhm.
Facts.
So I think this is still pretty encouraging, but it is outrageous that
And it's your
Pope-
I also
peers,
feel
honestly,
like-
that vote. It's not even like a collection of like behind the scenes people that like the Hollywood Foreign Press. We don't know who the hell they are. The Emmys, like it's literally your peers voting. So that's kind of the hard thing too. It's just like
right.
Yeah. I also feel
It
like
should have
there's
been
an
on Netflix
opportunity.
sooner.
That part
Right.
too.
Yeah.
I also feel like there's an opportunity with the Emmys to create a new category that's about like breakthroughs.
Yeah.
And, you know, like specifically in the space of like untold stories or, you know, like of underserved communities that are because there's a lot of, let's be real, as good as Pose was, there is some cringeworthy acting.
That's what I was thinking.
Storytelling that's a little crunchy.
Exactly.
It's still a Ryan Murphy show, you know.
Yeah.
Like
Oh, you don't gotta tell Auntie.
You don't gotta tell
Auntie Chardonnay about that.
but
Hashtag
then,
blame Ryan Murphy.
but how did you feel? Because Hollywood also got like a ton of nominations, and I hated Hollywood. Like I
didn't
hated
mind
that
Hollywood.
I thought Hollywood was okay. I'm glad the young man that played the black gay character.
Yeah.
I'm glad he got, because I honestly personally thought he was the
best.
best. That he was the best actor.
Well, it was the most. His character really was the most. He was not his character. He, as an actor, was the most authentic and felt like that role. You felt like that you were
him.
Him.
Yeah.
You didn't I didn't see an actor acting. I saw him.
Yeah, I completely agree.
And I think it benefited him that it wasn't based on like a real person.
Yeah.
You know, that definitely benefited him.
Yeah. I'm not going to go on a Ryan Murphy rant.
Right.
I'm holding my tongue because I want to say a lot.
Zendaya got nominated.
Spencer
got nominated.
I can't believe, I'm actually shocked that Zendaya got nominated because Euphoria came out like almost a year ago. I didn't watch it either, but I've heard such great things about it.
Yeah.
So it was really cool to see her get nominated for that almost a year later. And then also shout out to the Black Lady Sketch Show. Seeing them got nominated too.
Yvonne
and then
Orji
also
and Issa, both of them got nominated, which I was glad to see that they recognize Yvonne, because a lot of times they recognize Issa. But to see Yvonne, like, they need each other on that show. So as good as Issa is, it's because of Yvonne.
As much as they was working on nerve this last season, look, they did a good job.
But that's a testament to the writing and the acting. It's a testament to the writing and the acting, that's for sure.
And also, it was really cool to see Nicole Byer get nominated for her show. Nailed It on Netflix and as a host too, because I love her. Like, I followed her since Girl Code when that used to be on MTV.
Damn.
So I was really excited.
Wow.
Nicole is amazing. And I think I read earlier today that she's like the first Black woman to ever be nominated in that category.
Yes.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. That's still boggles my mind that they're still first like that
I know
in 2020.
Firsts.
I'm like all these actresses and actors we don't have.
But she's nominated as a host though, as a host.
But that's true. I know because they did say Insecure is only the 8th time a Black-led cast has been nominated in Outstanding Comedy.
Right.
And it's just like, you just think of all these comedies, and it was like The Bill Cosby Show, The Cosby Show, Julia, what were they? Hold on, I might even take a screen cap. It was like
Sister.
No, that didn't.
Wait, I don't think that was.
It was here it goes. Sanford and Son, Atlanta, Blackish, and Frank's Place. So you like think of all these other like Black-led casts, like Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, which like took over the world. You would have thought, or like a Martin, or I'm just like, that's number 8.
Yeah, that's.
It's weird to me. And then
it is.
We are at number 8 for the Black culture, so I'm sure like the Latino culture and like Asian and Native Americans are all like, shit, we ain't got nothing. So it's just like there's still a lot of growth. To do within Hollywood to be representative for what we see day in, day out in our lives.
Absolutely.
Yeah. As happy as I am for all the people of color and our queer people nominated, I feel like Schitt's Creek is just going to run house. I haven't even seen the season.
I haven't watched it yet.
I haven't seen the season, and I feel like it's just going to run house.
And the last season was good.
That's what I heard.
It was good.
I know that as a Canadian, I'm supposed to love the show. And I like it, but I don't love it.
I'm with you. I'm with you.
Tranna, speak your truth. This is a judgment-free zone.
But I mean, like,
we can hate it though.
Like, it's like, it's good. Like, it's enjoyable. Like, when there's nothing, or you don't really know what to watch, or like, you know, like, it's good.
She
it's
just
solid.
called it potato chips.
But honestly, but Tranna, I agree with you, because I fast forward through quite a bit of that show. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah,
I do, just because I don't do well with that sense of
dry humor.
Yeah, it just doesn't do anything for me. Like,
I mean, usually I like dry humor, but to me, it's not even that. Like, I don't know. There's just one thing missing, and I don't know what it is, but there's
not
just
me. Lube me up, girl. I don't like it dry. It's not for me, girl. It's not for me.
And that may be the soundbite.
Got our teaser.
Yeah.
58 minutes, 52 seconds.
Hour in, we got it. Not me, girl. That's funny. But yeah, so it's gonna be interesting. And Kerry Washington, which I thought she should have got nominated, she did.
Cool.
So
Well, I mean, like, a lot of people are talking about Reed Witherspoon.
Yes,
Now,
she should have been
nominated.
She should have gotten nominated.
Yeah.
3 or 4 shows that were like
oh my gosh,
like,
yes. What was the show on Apple TV? She was really good on too. Like the morning show. She was so good in that. I actually liked her better in Little Fires Everywhere than I did Kerry Washington, because Kerry Washington was working my nose. She was crying and she was, if you tell me one more thing. I'm like, girl, get it together. I need you to put your back into it or something. I need just a little peek of Olivia Pope. She went the opposite side.
She went to Viola Davis.
Girl, okay? She really did. She really did. I was like, no, ma'am.
I do
like the fact that
nominated too on that show.
Who?
Carrie's daughter in that show. I thought she killed that role in that show.
Yeah,
I thought she was good, but I thought the little girl that didn't get nominated, she should have definitely got it. Reese's daughter. I think she got nominated. And she got nominated.
Okay,
yeah. She deserved to. She was really good.
Killed it too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So
I do like, just going back to the whole post thing, I do like that that they're getting a lot of support. You know, like, because that's all that you're hearing, you know, like, okay, so everybody, which is, I don't know, it's kind of good, but it's kind of bad. It's like, it's good that, you know, it's good that they're getting like this acknowledgement, this public outpouring and saying, hey, you got snubbed because you're such a trailblazing part of cinematic TV culture, and for bringing trans women into the homes of middle America, right? In a platform, and specifically, I just said specifically.
Blackity black.
I don't know where that came from. I usually don't use that word. But specifically people of, you know, trans women of color into homes in middle America. So I feel like, you know, at least there's some vindication for the folks, the crew, the actors, the writers, the producers, the directors, like all of those that worked on that show to make that happen. But then it's like bad in a sense, because it does take a little bit of the shine away from, or the focus away from those who are would be celebrated because they also got nominations.
Right.
So.
Like even like Laverne, I'm sure Laverne's probably in like, you know, like, I'd want to see like my fellow sisters out here, but I got nominated, so I'm happy, but I'm not.
Right.
To be honest, I'm not gonna lie. I honestly felt when I saw that Laverne and Billy Porter from Pose were nominated, I felt like it was almost like the digestible vote. Like, we want to make sure that we include these two people in. And if we include these two, it's okay that we didn't include other people that should have been room. And it was just like the point of being at the table is to make room for everyone. So instead of removing chairs from the table, make the table bigger, and that way there's room for everybody. And I just said it was
Angelica, who from that show should have gotten an acting nomination. Maybe MJ. MJ should have gotten
MJ,
one.
Yeah, I would definitely say MJ.
But some of them were just like, we've said it on this podcast. We're like,
I would say Angelica. I would say MJ. I could also see Angelica Ross Because the first half of that
that's
season,
what we
she did a
said.
great job.
Right.
The first half of that season,
And she was
then
dead half of this season. They brought, and then,
Right.
you know, y'all boy brought her back as a ghost, driving around in cars and shit. I'm like, damn, you can't get away from this American Horror Story bullshit. Next thing you know, they're gonna be aliens coming down, dressing up as drag queens. What the hell, Brian Murphy?
Always does.
Mhm.
That's what he always does.
And then
I'm
and who
sorry,
was the other one that
reel
plays
it
the
back.
model too? That plays the model.
India Moore.
India Moore. That's
Oh.
like I liked her.
I like
in
India
this
Moore
season
probably
too.
even more. I liked her more in the first season than
Mhm.
this season. I feel.
Yeah.
Acting-wise.
Here's my perspective, particularly on India Moore. I don't think that her character arc was as
Deep as the
complex.
first season. Yeah, I agree.
It just wasn't. It really wasn't. Like this whole kind of like fairy tale, I want to be a model and then I'm falling in love with Poppy. And it's like, okay, bitch, that's all you doing? Like,
Right.
I mean, but I mean that to the writers, like,
Yeah,
that's
no, of
all you
course.
have her doing.
Yeah.
You know, whereas there are
Right.
so many other things that could be going on. Well,
Because I put it up against like Regina King. Like if I'm looking at Pose and the way they were acting, and then I look at like Watchmen, the way they were acting, that's in my head. I'm like, even though I want the representation there,
that's fair.
then I'm like, but hold on, it was a
It
different
doesn't
level
hold
of
up.
acting.
Now,
So
I will
that's the part I
say-
get torn on.
Now I will say I will hold that Reed scene with Mother
absolutely.
Electra against any other scene.
You right on that one. You right on that one.
The one scene in The Watchmen that we all know that Tranna, you will find out soon
I'll
enough.
find out.
I will put that against any of those scenes because
Yeah.
I probably watched that clip probably 3 times.
Y'all heard that? That's my favorite gift. That's
Right.
my favorite gift right now. After you read somebody in the comment,
heard that?
y'all heard that?
You heard that?
Every time.
So it's gonna be interesting to see what they do. How, like, are they gonna go the BT Awards route where everyone kind of is at home? Are they gonna try to get people in some kind of social distance room?
Yeah, but what if Leslie Jones hosts that? Because I would love to see her.
I would love it, but
Jimmy
it's not. It's
Kimmel.
Jimmy
It's Jimmy
Kimmel.
Yeah, but it would be
Jimmy
amazing.
Kimmel's hosting it.
It
I
would
know.
be amazing.
Leslie Jones would have been phenomenal
I agree.
to host the Emmys.
Mhm.
Like,
Yeah.
come on.
Because
Yeah.
Jimmy
So I
Kimmel's
ain't
executive
watching.
producer on it, so that's why he's hosting it.
So I ain't
Which I'm not
watching.
mad. Get them coins. If I was
I
executive
ain't
producer, I'm
watching.
like, bitch, and I'm hosting.
But you know what?
I will
though?
say though,
If
he's been
you-
doing a good job keeping his night show up though during the whole COVID right
I
now.
agree.
Out of all the people, him and Kelly Clarkson have been on.
And Kelly been
top
like
of
with
it.
like no makeup and everything. Kelly's like, whatever,
Yes,
you get what you get.
look.
Yeah.
Love it.
everybody in pandemic mode. I have to say that, like, you know, what was the award show that we just saw that was
BET
on
Awards.
the BET award shows? That for me set the bar for
Yeah.
what you can
What
do
you can
in a
do.
pandemic. That was hands down. And Tranna, if you haven't seen, just go in and watch like the host clips.
Yeah,
And
I
how
will.
she was able to like bring like a sense of interest and comedy and Black heritage and all of these amazing. It was Amanda Seales was the
Okay.
was the
Oh, yeah, I'm
host.
definitely gonna watch that.
And
It
it's
is a
just
great job.
yeah, especially when you don't have an audience to react to. It's like, how do you do it? And she really pulled it through. So it'll
Did
be
it all in
interesting
her
to see what
crib.
Jenny
Yeah,
does.
right. All in her crib. That was the
All
first
in her
time I
crib.
seen something like that done. Where like, because you know, I watched like The Voice, American Idol, and like when they were trying to do it with people performing in the home,
Yeah.
I was like,
It
that's
worked.
enough for me. Like I just
Yeah.
stopped watching,
Mhm.
But watching the BET Awards, that was the first time I was like, I'm gonna sit my ass right here on this
watch
on
the
this
whole
couch.
thing.
And I'm gonna watch the
It
whole
was-
thing.
Yeah.
And I
worth it.
felt I felt the importance and the message through the program.
amazing.
Like
Mhm.
I was like, that's great. That's how it should be done.
Mhm.
Absolutely.
So
But this is also why I feel like the Emmys needs to create a category specifically for like a breakthrough category, not a breakthrough in acting, but breakthrough in social and like in society or cultural breakthroughs.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? Because I
Yeah.
do feel like there were so many cultural moments,
Yeah.
like the documentary about the Central Park Five,
Yeah.
the
Which I got the shirt on
documentary about R. Kelly, part 2. There were so many things that happened in the course of 2019 leading up to this that were cultural breakthroughs that I feel like they don't really fall within the normal.
But they got nominated last year for
because Jarrell won last year.
Jarrell
he
won.
Last year. He won last year. So I just still think I agree, Dewan, because I feel like there are, maybe moments in a season of a show that is just culturally really relevant. And and it's just that one part that's like, man, this message speaks volume.
Yeah.
The rest of the season could be shit.
Trash.
But that one moment deserves that recognition.
Yeah. I agree with that statement.
I would love that.
Yeah.
So we'll see what they do.
And plus I think I feel like it would also give it would be a nod to what's happening right now. Like, we recognize that, our awards are not just about performance, but it's also about impact. And we have a responsibility to show the diversity of what television making is all about, what entertainment is all about. And this would be a great platform for that.
I really agree with that. And I think that is something that maybe would actually help these executives and producers behind the scenes understand the importance,
But you know who it is behind the scenes. That's why it's not happening, because they don't understand the importance.
Exactly. But if the awards show, but if there's an award to win, they might think differently. Sometimes you just have to appeal to people's egos, unfortunately.
That's a valid statement. And then you see Shea Coulee. Hey,
Yes.
Shea,
so happy.
From Chicago too.
Yes.
Yeah. I don't watch RuPaul Drag Race, but I do know that she won.
Yes.
And last season, it was not last All-Star, but the past season that just happened.
Season 12 was
season 12.
Starts with a J. Why can't I think of her name?
Jade.
Jada Essence.
It was Jada. Yeah, and she's from Milwaukee. So neighbor
cities.
Last
All-Stars was Evie Oddly, and then
it was Evie Oddly.
Evie Oddly was season 11 was Evie Oddly.
Yeah.
And then last All-Stars was Monet Exchange. So we got 4 people of color that are the reigning drag queens right now, which is incredible. So I'm here for it. So good job.
And I don't feel like
with Shea.
I don't feel like two things. One, I don't feel like this was a giveaway just because, this was a person of color. And I'm not saying that's what you're saying, but I'm just saying I don't feel that, because there are some seasons where I feel that, because quite frankly, I don't think that Monet Exchange should have won her season.
Really?
I think that she's phenomenal. I think that she does great as a performer. She's hilarious, but I don't think she won that season.
Who should have won?
Well, it was a tie,
right?
Because it was
Trinity.
Trinity to Tuck. And I think it should have been Trinity to. I was going to do the middle finger, but I think Trinity to Tuck really won that. So the fact that it was 2, in my opinion, was no, you don't have 2 winners. A tie, no.
Right.
But with the other point is with this All-Stars, this isn't a normal competition the way that it's played out. So there's a lot of politics and a lot of basically, if you are not in the top, then you are basically on the chopping block to be sent home. So nobody was safe.
Yeah.
So there was a chance, and
they should have voted Shea out.
the three that I thought that were supposed to make it was Shea Coulee, and I thought that she was going to win it because she's just that bitch.
She's just that incredible.
Her and Bob the drag queen and the other comedy queen, what's her name? Bianca Del Rio. Those 3 hands down are probably some of the best all-around performers that are out there, not just resting on looks. Isla Chachki. But I also thought it was going to be Juju and Alexis Mateo. I thought Cracker was going to be top 4, but I thought it was going to be the 3 of those, because consistently when those girls have performed, they have always ended up in the top 2.
Right.
So, but for the stuff that happened a couple of episodes before the finale, Alexis would have been in the top.
Right. I knew from the first episode that it was gonna be Jujubee, Ms. Cracker, and Shea. I just knew it.
Yeah.
And I'm not like, it's not an impressive guess. Like, it was just, to me, it was just really obvious. And from the get-go, Shea was, and I agree, like, it's not to say that it was an easy competition. It's just that she just commands that stage in a way that
others don't have.
others don't.
You can't even look away when she's on the stage,
can't.
how she's dressed, how she carries herself, her cocoa brown, like,
but she also just like,
she had.
but she also really brings that like vulnerability, you know, but it's not like over the top. Like, some people, the emotions is a bit too much for me. Like,
oh my gosh.
I mean, I'm all about emotions, but sometimes
Come on, Mariah.
sometimes it's just too much. Like, it's a little bit self-pitying, you know, like it sort of veers into that territory sometimes. But with Shea, I feel like there was always something to actually learn from her, you know? Like,
and she was helping the queens out the whole season too. So it wasn't like she was nice. Like, she was a total package. Like,
but what you
Darrell,
said,
you would love Shea Coulee. Like, she's your kind of drag queen.
I don't know many of the drag queens, but I do know Jujubee because I remember.
Jujubee's funny as fuck.
Yeah, I've seen her live. She is. I've seen her and met her live before, and she was just one of the coolest and like funniest person I've ever met. And I remember her being on
when they asked. There's a scene where they ask her. There's a scene where they ask her to like pretend like she's describing herself. She goes, "My name is Jujubee. I live long walks on the beach, fried chicken, and big dicks." Like, I love that girl.
But I'd walk to the thermostat.
Oh, that was the best.
Down to a
sensible
72.
Yeah. That was the highlight of the season, honestly.
It really
like,
was.
That was
that whole episode.
That whole episode was the highlight. And it's crazy because like so many people have done Eartha Kitt and you kind of like roll your eyes and like, again. But she was the definitive.
The best.
Nail in the coffin.
But would you guys, so Carell, I thought what you said a moment ago was interesting that like, you know, it's a competition and they could have gotten rid of Shea.
They
Like,
should have.
Shea was, again, like the, you know, for like, no question was going to go the distance.
Right.
But in all the other seasons of All Stars that I've watched too, it's like they always sort of take on this like code of ethics where they're like trying to determine like who did the worst job.
Yeah.
And I'm just curious if you guys were on the show, like would you vote based on who did the worst, or would you base your vote on who's your biggest competition?
I would. I know I'm just too nice this way that I would probably be like, ultimately, okay, I know I should probably vote Shea off. This is my opportunity. But how am I going to vote Shea off? Like, she's killing it, you know, kind of thing. Yeah. And so I feel like it would come back to me outside of RuPaul.
And I think that
the karma would get
shady.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I think that's what keeps them from voting like how you would vote in competition, because they know that if they vote off someone strong, the rest of the girls are going to gang up on.
Exactly.
Well, and the reality of it is,
real world after this.
And the reality of it is that they all, for the most part, like if nothing else, they know of each other, like intimately. So it would be I think it would be a different story if the regular season acted like All Stars, where the regular season they voted people off, because then you'll see a lot of the claws coming out.
Yeah.
But you know, the fact that these girls work with each other, they understand like what life is like after you go on Drag Race. They know what opportunities exist, etc. You know, it's a little bit of a different.
I will tell you though. Did it? Oh, I'm sorry.
I will tell you though. I would probably, depending on how well I was performing in the competition, that would determine whether or not I would vote off one of my competitors. Yeah. Because if I knew, even if like if the three of us are in competition and I knew that, oh, there was a definite chance that if Jarrell wasn't in this thing, that I would be able to take this all the way, I'd vote him off.
Bye, bitch. See you at the club next week.
I'll send you a couple of coins after it's done.
This is how you know it's Leo season right here.
Right.
Okay?
Yeah.
Like that is a straight up Leo thing.
Oh
through
my
and
God.
through.
The only person who actually did it though was, remember, Naomi in All Stars 4 voted Manila off.
Yes.
And everybody was like,
gasp.
that's like the only time I can remember that
But
someone was
if I remember
playing the
correctly,
game.
wasn't there a point where Manila was sort of getting on everyone's nerves at a certain point?
I mean, she might every season, but like
She was
the
winning.
clear winner.
That was
Right.
that was
at that
what's
point.
happening. They were frustrated because it was kind of like a Valentina moment. Like they're always
Yeah.
talking about
Right.
Manila, you know.
Yeah. So that's actually why Trinity won, because I think it was that season, right?
Mhm.
So
Right,
Manila should have been the winner, honestly, that
Uh-huh.
season.
Exactly.
But since
It
Naomi
turned
was
out
like,
different.
I'm getting this bitch out. Because I think Naomi was like, it's gonna be, if it's not her, it's gonna be me next.
Yeah.
So she's
Right.
like,
Right.
bye, bitch.
That's
So that's
you
literally
might
the
have
only time I
deserved
can
it,
remember
but you
someone
ain't gonna
playing
get it.
Right. That's the only time I can remember someone that actually played
Yeah.
the game.
Right.
I don't know. I don't know much about RuPaul, but I know about playing a game and being competitive. And all I can say is I just know as a person I wouldn't, because that just means I need to step my pussy up. Like if I'm not being the best, then I should knock someone off their crown, off their throne, when I don't have the right to be sitting up there. Earn your place, earn your throne. Don't take it, don't cheat it, don't steal it.
Right.
Like that's just how I am.
And that's how I think too. It's just like, damn, okay, am I doing it just because my feelings are hurt and I'm not doing that well?
That for me, it wouldn't be a strategy to start out with. It would be one of those strategies like, oh, if we're down to top 5, and I know that I'm one of the top competitors, and I know that Darrell is over there killing it too. Yeah. And I can get him out of the game. It's just like spades, honey.
But yeah, they should have voted Shea off. Like they had their one opportunity.
No, but they couldn't.
And they knew Shea was killing. They knew.
And because Shea
can
was
you
on,
imagine the heartbreak though?
No,
like
it would have been too
much. After getting that far of her season with those petals.
Yeah.
And after that bodysuit too she wore the episode before.
Oh God, yes.
But like she really was like more than any of them like on a mission. You know, this was a serious redemption for her, and like she was so devastated by losing in her own season. Like I felt like she wanted it more than everyone else.
Well, she said in her interview with Ru that they had invited her, or maybe it was a confessional. I can't remember, but she said they invited her.
On, YouTube. I watched the same thing.
That's what it is. Yeah.
Yep.
That the show had invited her to be on All Stars 11. So right after she lost,
3 and 4.
I'm sorry. Yeah. Yep. The last All Stars, they had invited her. So she had just lost the crown, and then they were going to start taping the next All Stars, and they were going to bring her back. But she chose not to compete because she number one, she said she ran out of clothes.
Yeah.
Which is so real.
That's a real, yeah.
She was like, I brought everything I had. Yeah. So y'all didn't tell everything. I ain't got nothing else. But then she said the other thing was she wasn't in a place to be able to receive
she said, because it was All Stars 3 was right after season 9. So she said she's.
Yeah, her core fell out. Her core fell out. Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I like the show from what I have seen.
I mean, to be honest, like I didn't watch it for the longest time. And then earlier this year, feels like a long time ago.
There we go.
But earlier this year, we had Bob the Drag Queen on our podcast, Chosen Family.
Nice.
So I wanted to watch Bob's season. And then I just got suckered in. And then I just started watching everything else. But to be honest, like, as soon as I'm done a season, I almost forget like what happened, who was on. There's only a small handful of queens that I remember. Mm-hmm. You know, even though I've basically seen like every season, there aren't that many that I remember.
That's very true.
No offense.
I will say though, these last 2 seasons have been amazing.
Yes.
Really have.
Like this All Stars, and then the season just prior, it was just like. So the talent of these people, the polish of these people is just, it's incredible.
Like, I feel like after season, even probably Bob, because I think he was season 8.
He was.
Like, I didn't start watching until later because Corey used to watch it like religiously. And finally he's like, just sit down and watch it. And now I watch it more than he does.
Right.
But I feel like after maybe even Bob's season, the polish of this show and the polish of these queens, fortunately and unfortunately, because like, it kind
You
of
have to
has
have a brand
thrown
now.
you have to have
You have
money,
to have a
and it's
brand.
kind of thrown away the old school drag, kind of like
Yeah.
the wit and the humor of it. Now it's just like who looks the fucking best, who's the
I know,
slaying.
and I don't. That's an Instagram game. You know what I
Absolutely
mean?
is.
Like bringing the looks, like it's not enough. Like
No.
and also like if creating your looks is your thing, like that's fantastic. But like, don't pretend that you're a performer.
Mhm.
You know, like
Ooh, remember those first couple of seasons where they had Santino on there and they had them make all their outfits and they had to be basically fashion designers.
Yeah.
Right?
It was a completely different
Different
I
show.
mean,
kind of
that might
show.
be like going too far, you know, to like expect people to like be able to sew and make all these amazing things.
Yeah.
But I think like it's just like you still have to bring something to the stage, you know.
You gotta be
And-
versatile. You gotta be
yeah,
well-rounded.
exactly. But I think
Yeah.
a lot of people like I too am like I'm just fed up of the acting challenges. Like
Oh my
I
god.
hate when they like do their like improvised sketches or even scripted sketches. Like
Yeah.
I'm just kind of over that.
Mhm.
I am, and then until like you get a breakout moment, and you're like, okay, that's why
I
they keep
know,
doing
but
it.
I find those moments are getting like
They're
fewer
fleeting.
That is true.
They're fleeting.
That is true.
like those scripts that they're given are just so bad.
Yeah, it is true. And now RuPaul has another show coming out. RuPaul making them.
Wait, what
coins.
is the new show?
So you know how they have the Vegas residency now. So I
Oh,
guess
yeah, I
they
did.
filmed.
It's the
Yes.
documentary.
Yeah, they
Right,
filmed
right.
them there. So it's gonna
Yeah.
be interesting. And it's
I
gonna
mean-
be awesome because I mean they got like Naomi there, they got
Right.
Miss Vanjie out there, so it's gonna be entertaining as shit.
Yeah.
So get them coins, Ru. Not even mad, you know. Not even mad. Even though you need to speak up a little more, but get them coins, girl.
Well,
I do like the fact that on the at the beginning and the end of the shows they had a poster, a black poster, all in black, not black poster, all in black poster that shouted out Breonna Taylor and
Absolutely.
standing in solidarity. So I do like that. I just
Wait, they
wish
did that on Drag Race?
yeah
At the beginning of every episode.
at the beginning and at the very end.
Yep.
Mhm.
Oh my god, they didn't show that on the Canadian streaming service.
Oh,
I was watching it
really?
on. Yeah, I've never
Oh.
seen that.
Yeah. There was just a black card that
Okay.
showed her picture and it said, you know, we stand in solidarity, you know,
Okay.
with Breonna Taylor and the Black Lives Matter movement. And it said something, a couple other little extra
Okay.
words or whatever.
Yeah. Yep.
But, you know, this is the most that we've seen out of, you know, World of Wonder Entertainment
Yeah.
that runs that, at least here in the United States for some of these social issues. So.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But
And just for those people that are listening, we are still waiting for those murdering cops to be
what's
arrested
their
and
names?
convicted
Hold on. Let's look
for
their damn
Breonna
name
Taylor.
up.
It's been more than 100 and something days.
It's just, but they want to set a precedent. You know
Mm.
what I mean? Like by not arresting them, they
Mhm.
want these actions to be things they can get away with. And it's,
Brett Hankinson, Jonathan Mattingly, Miles Cosgrove. Where's the fourth dude's name? Where's his name at? Hold on, I'm putting your names out there because y'all ain't getting away. We're not gonna be quiet. We're not gonna stay
No.
silent until this shit is fixed, and that means your ass in jail.
And the killer
it's
part
just, there's
about it
never
is that
been
it's
a more clear-cut case.
Right.
Like there's
Well,
no
because it's been-
ambiguity here.
it's been politicized, and you know that, you know, 45 in the office has his hands, you know, into this as, you know, kind of like some kind of political stronghold. And so,
Right.
you know, in
And I
any
think-
other circumstances, the local government with this amount of national pressure talking about this, they would have done something about it, but they
I know.
haven't. And that means
No.
that to me says that there is protection that is beyond, you know, our
Absolutely.
reach. at this
Exactly. And I think it's beyond protection. I think it's almost orders.
Well, it's
you know?
criminal.
And I posted something on our stories the other day. There's even a deeper thing that I guess the area that this so I guess the Louisville area, like every city in America damn near, is very segregated where people
Mhm.
live. And I guess the cops have been given an order to really, like the poor areas, they're trying to gentrify it.
Right.
And so they've been selling homes for like $1, things like that. So I guess where this shooting happened was another area that these cops are trying to either push people out of the community so they could get it to rebuild.
Jesus.
And so that's even like the layer behind it. And that's why it's taking them forever to investigate it, because they're trying to scare the community out of their own homes so they could gentrify the area. Like, it's insane. Like, it's upsetting and scary.
That is so fucking beyond.
Yeah,
it's
insane.
Beyond terrifying. But that's why, like, what is so fundamental in this fight is, like, to whatever degree, is like dismantling this capitalism and this extreme greed that is like at the root of so much of this fucking shit. Like, even what you're saying right now, like, that is just like, for money, for real estate, like, fuck.
And it just shows how much they don't care about the Black and brown communities, the poor communities in this country. That's what it really shows you, that they'd rather build another 2-story $1 million home or something than to really give justice to Breonna Taylor, to her boyfriend. We're not even, like, people don't even talk about the boyfriend. Where's her boyfriend now? Like, we don't know anything about the boyfriend now. Like, he's MIA. So it's just like, that's another thing. It's just like, what happened to him? What is the mental health for him now? What are the challenges for him now and his family? So it's insane. So yeah, I said the names. We're gonna keep saying it every episode. Because boo-boo, not today.
It's a mess. A mess.
Jarrell,
I'm gonna put this out there though, because last election, my ass was in Toronto. I was like just north, like maybe 2 hours north of Mississauga.
Yeah. Oh my God, I can't believe
Ontario. It's all the way up there. At a retreat or whatever with my work at the time. And so I was there when the night of the election and the day after the election. So then I had to come back through customs with this knowledge, and damn, I'm coming back into this country knowing this.
Register to vote. If you're not registered to vote,
I'm putting all my energy into helping everybody using this platform. I will walk people to where they need to walk to. I will get them Ubers. Like, you need to exercise your right to vote. And if things don't change, Tranna, you might have a new roommate.
Right.
Come over there knocking on the door.
You're more than welcome. I mean, things are not perfect here either. People need to, especially Canadians, like, we like to, I think we spoke about this on the
roundtable.
Roundtable, but like, and I think Americans too, like, are starting to also have this like idealized vision of Canada. And, you know, it's not the same as the US, but that doesn't mean that it's not bad in its own ways. You know what I mean? Like, I just read this morning that this year, like 2020, and we're only in July, like there have already been more police murders this year than last year in Canada.
Really?
Yeah.
And granted, those are not American numbers, but it's still more than last year.
Happening.
And the bulk of this year, we have all spent indoors.
Right? It's like,
so, like,
where's everybody going?
Damn.
Like, it doesn't make sense.
No.
Yeah.
How is there more police brutality in the year that we have all spent indoors?
Because they're looking for it now. They're so used to doing it that they're missing that fix.
Yeah,
so that we're going to just hunt people down now.
Like, yes, I think like part of it is true, Corral. Like, there is this fix. There is this, like, when you look at, especially in the States, of like, you know, white supremacists looking at the police force as this like way to, you know, channel their racist and their darkest desires without any consequence. Like, please, that's how they look at the police force. That's how they look at joining it. It's like, this is my opportunity to do the things that I want to do without any
repercussions. I know. Yeah. So, community, if you're not registered to vote, I've actually, right before we hopped on here, was on a webinar partnering up with We All Vote and Native Son. So you could go to weall.vote/Native Son. Easy way to register. And then that way you can partner with them as well and get your neighbor, get your friend that, you know, be like, oh, I don't know if I want to. I don't know how.
You guys have to drag everyone you know.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Like,
and pay attention to the mail-in vote date too.
Yeah.
14 days, at least 14 days beforehand, at least.
And do it more than 4. Exactly. Do it like.
Don't be lazy and wait.
Yeah. If they're telling you 14 days, like, give yourself like 20 days.
23.
Yeah.
You know? Honestly.
Matter of fact, send it in right now.
Right.
Can people already
do it
that?
now?
Yeah, you could go right now and get to request your application now.
Okay, we'll
Yeah.
do
Like
that.
now.
Yeah.
Today.
Mhm.
So please, Jesus. But
There was
Jarrell,
I
you see
saw
the
that
NBA
article.
is back too, though. Go ahead.
I saw that article about what is it? It's Barbados. Barbados is now like removed their travel restrictions and are starting to entice Americans to come down there and work and live for people who are like working remote or whatever. I don't know, Tranna. I might have to forego Montreal to go to Barbados.
I wouldn't blame you. I think that's
I mean, old Montreal is beautiful, but it gets cold.
And I hear about the strip clubs up in Montreal too, by the way.
I know, Corral. Have you ever been here?
No, it's so on my list.
Either.
It is
Okay,
on my list.
Honestly, like when I mean, I don't even know how to finish that. When blank, you got to come up here. You got to come up here.
Absolutely. Like, and I will
We
look
should
you
do
up
an
and you
auntie
go
trip
take
up
me
there.
out and show me Montreal.
We should do an auntie trip.
And honestly, again, like especially if your dollar is still as strong as it is, whenever that happens, like I think more Americans should, visit Canada because
I love
like
Montreal.
We used to a lot growing up.
Yeah,
like
I dated one of my
Toronto.
exes. I was in a long distance relationship with a Montrealer for 3.5 years. So I got to really know and appreciate.
Okay.
Oh yeah,
Amazing.
yeah.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
They don't call a genie from the block for nothing.
No, we didn't go to strip clubs then. That was after. That was after I learned the language.
Okay, now. Yes, I hear they like. I mean, down here in Atlanta. So Atlanta, if you don't know,
Swinging Richard,
like has Swinging Richards, which is like one of the only, I think now, all nude gay male strip clubs.
Oh.
So we have one here in Atlanta, but I hear the one in Montreal is quite nice too.
Well, they're crazy. The strip clubs here are really like some. I mean, this is also like, I shouldn't maybe say that because I've only been once and it was very strange and it was a very random time and night. So like, it was a bit weird. But in addition to like the strip clubs, there's also like all of the gay bathhouses and like the saunas and like, yeah.
Well, I mean,
to me,
hold on, I'm married.
Always...
Put my ooh in an eye. I mean, what are those?
Corey listening right now, like, ooh.
No, Corey's listening like, ooh, too.
Right.
Like he's already got that phone out looking up flights.
And knowing Corey's like, oh yeah, I went when I was like 29.
Right.
Like Corey's the same. Corey's been all over this world. He's like, oh yeah, I've been to that man's house.
Yeah, because it's only like it's only a couple hour drive from here, from New York.
Yeah, it's not far at all.
Not for me.
Well, no.
Yeah,
you can go back to Vancouver. You can go to Vancouver. Vancouver is pretty.
It's cute. Yeah, Vancouver's cute, but it ain't my scene.
It's too quiet.
It is.
Yeah.
It lacks the turn up.
Vancouver.
Yeah.
It's very pretty, but it lacks the turn up.
It's like, and also you have to be like, I think it's for like people that are, I mean, I don't know if this is the case for you or not, Jarrell, but like, I feel like it's also for like people who are really into yoga and like hiking and, physical activity,
granola.
which is like really not my thing at all.
I mean, Lululemon's there.
Yoga.
Like the headquarters for Lululemon is there. Like
it's a very Lululemon.
Just play that Janelle Monáe yoga song. You'll fit in.
Yeah.
You'll be good.
I mean, no, that's too turn up. That's still too turn up for them.
Yeah.
But I will say though, I like going to Vancouver because they don't got a lot of Black folks up in Vancouver. And so whenever I go to Vancouver, like they be buying me drinks left and right. Like, oh, you're so cute. Here you go. Oh, here you go. You're so cute. I'm like,
I know that's right.
Pull out that carpet. Thank you so much. Oh.
But we should definitely plan an auntie's trip to Montreal.
Yeah,
wouldn't that be amazing?
So much fun.
That would be that would be a blast.
That's what we should do for year 3. That's what we should do for year 2 was been about like inclusion and getting other people in the podcast. Year 3 is gonna be the aunties tour.
We go on the road.
We're doing the tour.
Yeah, we're doing the tour.
We should get an RV.
Tour the world.
Yes.
It'll be like the Oprah and Gail tour.
Yes. We get a Winnebago and just go driving around.
Girl, we'd either come out very successful or we done killed each other. There ain't gonna be no in between.
That's true.
But Jarrell, are you gonna watch the NBA? By the time this episode comes out, the NBA starts. Well, I guess they've even been showing the scrimmages now. But do you? I don't know. Do you watch the NBA?
I don't watch the NBA that much.
No?
I mean, I do. Don't get me wrong. I watch the NBA. I will watch just because I love that my sports are coming back.
Right.
I was watching the WNBA this past weekend, and it was great seeing them play. It's just a little different not being in the stadiums.
It's
like
a different energy.
I feel like I'm watching like almost like a college tryout, almost in the sense. Like it's just not the same. But I hope it's successful. I hope everyone stays healthy and stays safe. I hope it's not like MLB where like the whole Miami,
Shut them down. The Florida Mariners.
The whole team has tested positive for COVID.
God.
Yeah. Yep. And the Phillies played the Mariners, and that stopped them from playing the Yankees for their opener because of the fact that they were supposed to play each other too.
Yeah.
So
shout out to the NBA for how strict they've been. Like a lot of people are kind of making fun of them, saying, "Oh, it's the bubble and we can't do shit." Now you see why it's so strict, because they haven't had, knock on wood, Jesus, haven't had any positive tests the month they've been down there in this bubble. They literally test all day, every day. You can't do shit until you get that test back. Then you could go practice and work out, So they've been so strict on it, and it's honestly been the model so far for to be successful on getting people into a large group of people into areas, honestly.
It's going to be hard for many other sports. I mean, if the one sport that could have done it right was baseball, but I think they're not doing the best job at doing it correctly, especially by flying people to different stadiums, etc. It's not the best way. And even like in schools, like, because I coach high school volleyball, in my 13 years, I will not be coaching this year because they have pushed it from spring, so now it's March, May, that. So like after 13 years of doing this, like my internal clock for coaching is like, we got summer practices, we need to be in the gym lifting, we were running. Like in my mind, I'm expecting that to lose some more weight and summer, looking right.
Not today.
But no. So
we'll see what tennis does too, because they're gonna do 2 tournaments at the Billie Jean Tennis Center in New York. So they're doing the Western and Southern that's normally in Cincinnati. They're gonna do that in New York, and then they're gonna do the U.S. Open. And a lot of people were mad at how strict they're trying to be. And then Novak Djokovic, remember we talked about that a few episodes ago, was willy-nilly out there, and they got COVID. So see what happens there.
Yeah, but apparently he's COVID-free now. Like, he's good. So is Grigor Dimitrov. Like, they're good, too. But, I've been watching tennis because they've been doing this Tennis Reopen. The World Reopen. Yeah, and so it's been interesting to see how they handle that. Honestly, I would be fine watching it like that. Like there's barely anyone in the stands. Like I'm cool with there's no one. Have the players shag their own balls. Like I think that's a good idea. I agree. This is great.
When you're watching tennis, you're literally watching just the 2 people on the field. Like you don't get distracted. You're not paying attention to who the ball girls are and the ball boys are.
Well, besides when they bust their face at Wimbledon, face first.
That shit was so funny. I tried to play it off too, like nothing happened. And then obviously by the time this comes out, our edges will be gone because Black is King will be out.
Beyonce.
And I'm gonna need somebody's login. Thank you very much.
Disney Plus.
Queen B is back.
Between that and Netflix bringing back the Black comedy, the Black sitcoms,
it's gonna be a great weekend.
And
It's gonna be a really good weekend.
We said August. Look, August may be the 1 month this year. I've been like, come on, 2020.
Come on, 2020.
Like, it may be the 1 month.
Leo season.
She just stole it. You see how she did that? Look, she flipped that script real quick.
Leo season.
I heard we were canceling Leo season this year.
Oh my God.
Can't happen, won't happen.
So what I said in the Facebook.
What are you? What is your sign?
I'm a Capricorn.
Okay. And Corral?
This season that came and went. It was like the gone. But now we're in the Leo season.
I mean, at least our season wasn't a mess.
It started it. Hello?
It was
not mine.
Started it.
Not mine. Mine was good.
Mine started it. That's okay.
No,
I
your
got mine.
season was
Sorry.
DL. Your
My
season
season-
was D.
Right, your
Your
season wasn't DL season.
DL. Now you want to talk
My
about it?
season. My
Your season was
season.
undercover.
It was all
Y'all
over
out
there still.
Your
I
season
got
was people walking out there infecting everybody.
I got the last weekend in.
What sign are you, Corral?
I'm a Pisces,
Me
March
too.
7th. Oh, and see, that's what
See the
that's why I
connections.
like you.
Yeah.
See, water, fire.
You know?
Yeah.
Even though I don't know
Come
what
on,
Pisces,
Avatar.
I don't even know what all the signs mean. Like people like, oh, Pisces season, and I just be saying it. I don't know what any of it means at all. I don't know what Leo season mean. I don't know what Capricorn season. I don't know any of the signs. I was in the church. My parents were like, "That's that devil stuff." I don't know what that is.
I don't know the
But you know that Beyonce Missy Elliott Science song though.
Right. Sagittarius. Ah. And I just know Beyonce's a Virgo. That's all I need to know.
Okay.
Yeah,
need to know.
she's
knows
like the
some signs.
quintessential Virgo.
She is the queen. I guess they like are perfectionists, is what I kind of gather. Or something.
Yeah,
I
and
don't
They
know.
be doing the most.
very
They be doing
disciplined.
the most.
Very disciplined. Okay. Hey,
Yeah.
King
And
B.
stubborn.
Yeah.
King B. What is Pisces though?
I'm with one, so I
Pisces
know about them Virgos.
Are very sensitive,
I am sensitive.
and emotional
I am emotional.
and empathetic,
I am empathetic.
very like intuitive as well.
Okay, come on, Pisces season. Okay, you just
Yeah.
named all my shit. Okay. but yeah, we'll see what August brings.
Yeah.
It's
What show you
clearly-
watch? What show you looking forward to watching the most
on Netflix?
Yes.
Probably. Let me think, because it's Moesha, The Game,
Girlfriends, half and half, sister,
one-on-one.
one-on-one.
I would be most excited for Sister personally.
Yeah.
I'm thinking either probably Sister or maybe Moesha, honestly.
Yeah.
Mo to the E to the Mo to the. Speaking of which, she got an album coming out this Friday.
Yeah.
That is true.
Yeah, that's
That is
true.
That's right. Yeah.
Come on, Brandy.
Yeah.
And it's
So,
called
you know.
B7, so now Beyonce
B7.
can't name her album B7 because Beyonce's next album would be the
Oh,
seventh
shady.
I don't-
bitch.
I don't
But
think
you know,
Beyonce wanted that title.
Right. Look,
That might be the soundbite.
Beyonce would have bought them name rights real quick.
Yeah.
Right.
I wish
That
I
is
never
true.
would.
Yeah.
She would have bought that after album number 3. Like,
That is very true.
I ain't going nowhere.
You were right on that. She said, I don't want that. You got it, Brandy. It's all
Yeah,
yours.
you can have it. I'm
man.
dead.
Oh,
But yeah, for
boy.
me, it'll be Girlfriends and probably Moesha. Like, those would be the.
Because I never really got into Girlfriends when it was on. Like, it was like one of those shows that I caught here and there. But like
Mhm.
Moesha was Wednesdays because we had Wednesday night Bible study. And so
Mhm.
I would always be like, okay, it's time to go. Like, y'all
Mhm.
talking too much to the congregation. We got to go because Moesha on and the Parkers.
And the Parkers, yes. On UPN? Was he watching on
Yes,
UPN?
exactly.
Yes.
So it's like, come on, Mom, Dad, we got to
Yes.
go. So it might be Moesha. It might be
Yeah.
Moesha. Oh, The Game is the other one that's on there.
You know, like
I never really
I liked
watched
the
The Game
first,
that much,
I liked
too.
actually the first few seasons of the games. Like, it
Yeah.
was really good. But then, like, once they went from
CW to BET.
to BT, it went down.
It went to like a
down.
dramedy almost.
Yeah,
like,
it wasn't as good.
They
But you know what?
changed
The person that
writers
plays
and
Tasha
directors
Mack,
when they moved.
yeah, but the person, I forget her name that plays Tasha Mack on there. Oh fudge, she's like in everything. Oh man, what's her name? I'm gonna have to look her up.
I don't know. All I know is
Damn.
Tia. And then they had some
Yeah.
couple fine dudes on there. That's
Oh
all I
yes.
knew.
Oh, what's his name? Lawrence was on there. Lawrence started in
Oh, really?
the game.
I
Yeah,
did
he
not
was
know
the
that.
rookie in the game. So that was his
Okay.
first. That was his first breakout.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Did not know that.
hmm
But anyway, Tranna, thank you, boo.
Yes.
Thank you.
Oh my
thank
god,
you.
thank you guys so much. You guys are all
Yes.
amazing.
Aw.
And like I'm truly like such a big fan of everything you're doing. And
Oh, thank you.
like I remember like even just like through the roundtable, like when I first discovered you guys and just like listening to your episodes and looking at your Instagram, it's like I just love how you've used a podcast to really create community. Like it's really, really fantastic.
Oh, that's very sweet. Thank you. And you're welcome back anytime. Just
Anytime.
Be like, hey, I feel like being on. Be like, okay.
Because then I'd be messaging you like every week. So you let me know, and I am like on board anytime. Anytime. Like I would love to come back.
Aw.
And her name was Wendy Raquel Robinson. Boom.
Yes.
Okay.
She was on the Steve Harvey show.
Yeah, she was on the Steve Harvey show. Yeah.
And she's in Insecure.
Right.
She's Issa's mom.
She's Issa's mom and Insecure.
And Tranna, what's your IG? Plug your stuff again.
So I mean, everything is under my name, Tranna, Tranna, Wintour, Wintour. So that's just across all platforms. And my podcast, Chosen Family, is available wherever you get your podcasts.
Yes.
Stream it, baby.
Stream it, baby.
Yes. Yeah.
She's on hiatus right now, so you'll have the opportunity to
there's
catch
lots
up.
of time to catch up. And I feel like, especially in our last season, we had so many conversations about, you know, race and Native issues and Me Too, you know, conversations. So I feel like there's a lot of stuff that we spoke about in our last season that's really, you know, coming to light in a new way. So I think there's actually stuff that's worth really going back to and checking out. So.
Awesome.
You're going to have to give us the sneak peek or the scoop when your new season's getting ready to come out. We'll have to make sure we let the community know so that they can show you some love. Yes.
Thank you.
Absolutely. And then I think that's it. So wash your hands, wash your legs, wash your ass. Because this COVID ain't playing still.
Mask up. And stay at home.
Register to vote.
And oh my God, please.
So we'll see you next week.
Bye, community.
Bye, guys.
Bye.